Okay, my name is Zakashi, guys. This is a should you summon, but the first thing I want you guys to do is comment how many chrono crystals you have, because that's going to be a big factor for whether you're able to actually pull Ultra Goku Black Rose if you're going to be summoning for him. Now I'm going to go into get into some things really quickly, because it's very important that you know these things before you do anything regarding summoning. Watch a showcase before you summon. You are not a content creator, most of you anyways, and if you're watching this, you're probably not a content creator. So you have all the time in the world. Watch your showcase before you summon. The ban is not going to disappear on the first day. Watch showcase before you summon so you actually know the full depth of him, if you're not only summoning for the fact that you like Goku Black, because there's a lot of people who will consider him bad once they get him because they wanted to use him in PvP. So if you're doing summoning for things like that, as in the kit around, watch showcases first, not with one. So for example, if you're subscribed to me, watch my one, cool, but you need to watch other ones. Whatever content creator you like most, definitely to pick up their showcase to actually get multiple opinions, because people play differently, people use characters differently. That's just objective truth. Cool, you can try them in the try feature as well, see how they feel, because Goku Black has a scythe, so he's going to be a slice character. How he feels when you're using him, because that actually might affect how you actually play. For me, I don't like using heavy characters such as like Broly, Bojack. I feel like these guys hit so heavy and it's not nice on the fingers. But that's just some pre-information regarding actually just summoning generally. Also be wary about your chrono crystals, considering that the anniversary starts in May, the end of May, spanning on from there to June, and then July as well to the end of July. So yeah, that's just some pre-information. Hopefully that is helpful. Definitely leave that comment based on how many chrono crystals you have. I'm very curious. And on top of that, press the subscribe button, man. We are on this grind to 40,000 subscribers. We're actually very close to getting there. We should hit it by tomorrow when I'm summoning. Yes, I'll be summoning live, so that's another thing of a bit of information I gotta tell you. Press that subscribe button. We're very close to 40,000 subscribers. All my social media is going to be on the bottom of the screen. It's the YouTube channel. We've got a Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, Instagram, and the Discord link all in the description below. So make sure to check me out on all of those. But yeah, man, I'm just looking out for you guys' best interest. I'm gonna get into the actual bulk of the information that I have to say for this video regarding Goku Black Rose. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually discuss Goku Black Rose and his kit. I'll get into the general summoning banner. We don't have much information on the banner at time making this video, but obviously I need to make this video before the banner drops, and this is the most time I have to do it, so I'm going to give you information based on everything that we have. So the first thing we want to look at is this description here. If you don't know, they actually accidentally scheduled their post earlier than expected, and they give information on his kit, and they took it down, they edited it, but obviously people screenshotted it, so we have it here. You can see here the ultra ability tag future characters, but it's also powerful opponent, so just bear that in mind. The ultra ability specifically is for future, but the Z ability is for powerful opponent as well, which is dope. Ultimate awaken here for damage inflicted, which is 3% to future, and 38% to future and tag powerful opponent. So you need to have a bit of both. It's pretty much just Goku Black mirrors the Master CMZs. Not many people tag droids as well. Cell, I think that's it. Cool. The ultra ability, what I spoke about, future, is not much, but it works the same way like every other unit. Pretty much that's an ultra in the game. The special move is the main thing that they touch on here. You can see here, deals massive slice damage. The following effects occur upon activation: plus 15% to own special move damage inflicted for 3 time accounts every time he does a blue card, and he actually cancels the enemy's buff effects, which is actually dope. And that seems like it's every time. The reason why I believe it's every time, because they usually write, oh, for only 2 times, and you'll see that in the next page when we get to 3. The following effects occur on here: inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade, plus 20% to damage received for 10 time accounts, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade, plus 10 to all arts cost for 10 time accounts. And then there's these 3 things. Now I actually predicted the 2 of these, but I missed on the paralyze. So you can see here, 100% chance to inflict heavy bleed. Heavy bleed can actually help a lot, especially with the fact you're also getting 100% strong poison. You're gradually going to chip away at your enemy's health. It might work behind the scenes, and it might actually help you get a lot more taps off damage. Like, you know, when you're close to killing somebody off the taps, or maybe your strike cards are like that tiny bit off, you could then tap them at the end as well. You could actually kill them because of that, so it could make a difference, I'm not gonna lie. And then the paralyze, it has a chance to hit. So even though the bleed and the poison is the strongest types you can get, both 100% guaranteed, the paralyze is not guaranteed, so you need to bear that in mind. And it also needs to be put out that you can also nullify most other special moves. So when special moves clash, it's not going to be a clash. In most cases, Rose Goku Black is actually going to be the more powerful one. Now there's one more page here. You can see here he has a strike cover change over here on the first unique ability. He slightly charges his unique gauge. Yes, he has a unique gauge. He has an attack unique gauge. And specifically, whose unique gauge I'm going to reference? I'm going to reference Beast Gohan's. His gauge works similar to Beast Gohan, and you'll read it here. So Slightly charges own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card while on the battlefield. Applies the following effects to self once unique gauge is full. Restores health by 25%, activates once. Key recovery is not the best, but for 20 time accounts. And he also can't be cover changed for 15 time accounts. Now what's really dope is that the cover change thing, that happens every single time. Like, so you can pretty much get infinite cover change notification depending on how your combos go. But something to point out is that from what we've seen, he doesn't get draw speed anywhere. So even though he can't be cover changed, which will be in most cases because his gauge would fill, it's not the best if you don't have draw speed because your combo can't extend for you to actually refill your gauge and keep that notification, cover notification. Here it says consumes entire unique gauge and applies the following effects to self if a strike art is used. Now I told you I referenced Beast Gohan. The reason why I referenced Beast Gohan is because Beast Gohan's gauge empties when you press a blue card or a green card and there's no other way to empty it. Cool, you fill the gauge through doing strike and blast. It's all arts cards in fact, but to empty it, it's a blue or a green. The only difference is in this case, to empty it is a strike card. And when you actually empty your gauge, you consume it, you actually get ultimate arts, you get key 60%, 60 key, and you get 100% of your vanish gauge back. That's every time. Except for the ultimate, you can only draw an ultimate twice from your gauge, meaning that you can get 3 ultimates from Ultra Goku Black, which is actually dope. 3 ultimates. You get 1 from your main ability, and the 2 times that you fill your you consume your unique gauge, not necessarily fill it. Consuming it is what you need to know. So consumes entire unique gauge and applies the following effects if strike arts is used. So yeah, you get the ultimate arts, you get the key, and you get the 100% vanish recovery, which is dope. Now let's go back to the tweak because there's just a tiny bit more, but it's just generally the same thing that we just went through. So you can see here, it says increase your damage for increase the damage your party deals by inflicting all enemies with an increase to damage received. In addition to other attribute downgrades you can inflict on your opponent. The special move art is especially powerful with a chance to inflict multiple abnormal conditions. If your opponent doesn't have a character in their party that can cancel or nullify abnormal conditions or attribute downgrades, then this special move art will give you the upper hand in battle. So the blue card is actually very useful, but this part here will also allow you to do more damage unless a person specifically immune, because he's giving debuffs, not necessarily buffing himself, which I personally think is a bit of a downside if he doesn't have the stats to naturally just keep it up. The last bit here mentioned that it's an attack type gauge. I already gave you the comparison for Beast Gohan, and yeah, it's pretty much what we just read. You can get ultimate art several times, so it's twice, one more from the main ability, so 3 times. And yeah, they're just saying that he's a strong attacker, even inflicting abnormal conditions and attribute downgrades. Yeah, they're just mentioning as well the scythe. So overall, it's looking dope, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna get into the banner, and then at the end of the video I'll give you some things I don't like or whether I think it's worth it. Of course, at the time of making this video, the banner that we're going to get isn't out yet, but depending on who's on the banner, I don't suggest you actually look at who the side characters are. Mainly, you really want the ultra, of course. The side characters probably be some people you're not interested in, so I'm thinking some powerful opponents or people that are related to Vegeta clan just because of future, and obviously the future tag, maybe Godkey. If I was to get some picks, it seems like SSBE has been all over the campaign, so I'd put SSBE on the banner. I'd probably put 8 Vegeta on the banner just for sake. I don't see like anybody returning so soon like Trunks and Vegeta. I could see CMZ being on the banner, this exact one, Corrupt Zamasu here. If I was to mention another person, someone has to be future related. Maybe Sword of Hope Trunks could make his appearance on an ultra banner. I could see that also being possible, but I wouldn't actually push it. And maybe Cell. You know, they could go like the really powerful opponent route about it. I'd say future and powerful opponent more than anything else. But I'd sneaking SSBE just to attract some people, considering he got a Zenkai very recently. Now, talking about ultra banners, you can see here, those are just predictions, by the way. That don't take it as verbatim. Ultra characters have 2000 Z power, 1 SP or higher guaranteed. That means every time you do a step, you will be getting a sparking at the bare minimum. So it's actually quite likely you will get LFs, Legends Limited, but again, you shouldn't summon with that intention. Because you could get, for example, let's say you're summoning on Ultra Super Gogetta's banner, you could get 1,000,000 G4s and never touch these guys. It's random. But with the Ultra, you know, if you get an Ultra, you're getting the main character. And it only needs 5 copies, and I'm saying only because 5 is not a big number. But pulling an Ultra is very difficult in the first place. Let's keep that in mind. The rates are low. but 5 ultras, you get them 14 stars. In a lot of cases, you'd put a LL a lot more than that. If we look at the step formation, as long as they don't change it, it should be 1,000 every single step, and there's only 3 steps that you pay for. The last step is completely free. The second step is a 2 times ultra rate step, which is not in favor, I'm not gonna lie. Also, you shouldn't be considering any other sparkings on the banner. However, I will say that because you're getting a sparking every step, guaranteed, the styled characters are actually something you could actually stack up and actually get Z power for them to 14 star them, and they'll be effective for Z abilities and things of that nature. Even if they're Zenkai characters, that's even better. So when you're running the Zenkai buff, you also get the Z ability at max because they're 14 stars. Besides from that, you get these legends tickets, which can just be used at that crappy exchange shop where you can get like one 600 Z power unit for the fact of exchanging thousands of these. So they will stack over throughout the year of you playing legends. You really need to be a dedicated player to actually make the most of these. But outside of that, I'd say just be careful because the rates are extremely low. Look at it, 0.35. That is a very low rate for an ultra unit. So if you get an ultra, you're very lucky. I will also say that generally speaking, the shaft point, I will say, is 20,000 chrono crystals. Whether you should spend 20,000 chrono crystals, I also don't think so. But at that point, I think you should consider stopping if you haven't even got one copy. Yes, it will hurt, but of course, if you're already deep in, you might want to go back, just continue going back in. But then you also have to consider the future. That's just my opinion on it. But of course, if you're chasing for the sake of just having the character because you think they're cool, you can play it how you want. But I would say at 20k is really you're reaching a shaft point. From my experience, I usually get ultras every 13k, and that's quite expensive when you actually break it down. 13k minimum for a ultra every time, pretty much, unless I get extremely lucky at one point, which is very unlikely as well. But I just want to point that out because that might be information that is very important to you guys when you're actually going in and deciding to summon. Yeah, expect the ultra banner that literally has Ultra Goku Black on the front to have this exact same format. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is whether he's actually worth it or not. In my opinion, he's a good ultra to have, but there are some things that I'm actually wary about in terms of his longevity and whether he's actually going to be very useful in PvP. For example, he has no ways of getting type neutral. So if he's fighting a purple, and we know what purple's in the game right now, Ultra Gogeta blue, if you're chasing him, that might be a good reason to skip as well, but I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Literally, he could get bodied. He has no way of going type neutral, so he's a very big victim possibly to purples. I only hope that his ultimate allows him to go type neutral. That would be a real big game changer, 100%. Outside of that, he also doesn't have draw speed, so even though he's able to actually fill his gauge, do these big shiny attacks, I like to say ultimate special moves, they're big shiny attacks, he's not going to be able to extend his combo very far. So even though he has cover change nullification, if his combo ends very prematurely, you won't be able to fully utilize it without actually dropping the combo and then trying to rebuild what you actually have from the jump. Filling your gauge is dope, and you do get your vanish back, which is effective, but I feel like they're making him out to be a very offensive unit, and they might actually shaft his defenses. So that's why I actually recommended at the start of the video that you watch showcases, because there's very likely that they do that. They often do that with characters that are very offensive heavy. Having 3 ultimates is a very big advantage over any character in the game, besides maybe the unit that the type of element that you're type disadvantaged to. But even then, if his ultimates allow him to go type neutral, that's going to be an even bigger plus. So I can see them making his defense is not that great. He is an ultra and he is a Saiyan ultra, even though Saiyan's not his main tag. He is on a popular team as well, Future being that, and he can also fit on Godki. So it's just some things I wanted to point out regarding him. I also don't like the fact that he's very core on debuffing, where he doesn't as much buff himself. That makes me more concerned for his longevity, because if he doesn't get his debuffs off with some characters that are immune, he's basically going to be useless. For example, Android 17, it might only be one time, but it's a very big factor. Beast Gohan, he goes type neutral in a lot of cases, and he's type neutral on defenses. Yes, Rose can cancel it through other things such as his blue card, but you still have to consider that that's not going to be the case 24/7. He does get a lot of ultimates, and he will probably be able to have a lot of blue cards, but the things you want to consider in battle that would actually change how you actually perceive Ultra Goku Black. Of course, he looks cool, so if you're just summoning because he looks cool, for sure. But I do want to say that I'll be summoning, so you can just take my showcase, and again, other showcases of content creators that you watch. But I will say, because you guys who are most likely watching this video are not content creators, I definitely justify watching showcases before you go at least deep in. But if you're summoning because he's cool, good luck because of that. Besides from that, Ultra Gogeta Blue might come back near the anniversary. I only say that because he's going to be a very easy unit to bait people into summoning, so that they can actually lose their chrono crystals and have to buy chrono crystals again. But again, I can't guarantee that. That's just something I'd say is smart on the financial end for them. That's pretty much all I've got to say. I think he is worth summoning for, generally speaking, but a lot of you guys might not be happy with him if you're summoning for the kit. But because he's cool, of course he's worth summoning for. In this case, that's what I think. I wouldn't say that about all units, like, because he's cool, but it's Rose, man. The hype for Rose is insane. And I will also say he's not bad at all. I might have sounded like I downplayed him heavy, which I actually did in a sense, but I'm just being realistic about how he will work in PvP. I do think he's going to be actually exceptional, not a bad ultra at all. I can see him being top 3, but again, it very much varies based on factors that we haven't seen yet, and especially because I'm recording this quite early, I want to give you guys the best shot of actually considering whether Ultra Goku Black will be for you. So press that subscribe button, man. We're on this grind to 40,000 subscribers. Hopefully this video was helpful, and of course I'm going to post more tips. I'll be streaming live when the banner goes live, and I'll be summoning, pulling at least 1 copy of the unit, and then I'll also be showcasing the unit, so check me out for that. We're very close to 40,000, so help me out. Press that red button, man. I'm gonna leave the video like that though, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. My name's Zakashi, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one, man.